Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lit Up Lightworker Podcast, bringing you fun and soulful interviews with spiritual teachers with the aim of tuning you in and lighting you up. You can access all episodes of the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos and interviews all about finding and following your life purpose. My name is George Lizos. I'm a spiritual teacher, intuitive, the author of Be the Guru and the #1 best-selling Lightworkers Gotta Work. And today I have with me Yamile Yemoonyah. Yamile Yemoonyah is a professional spirit guide medium, spiritual teacher, host of the Spirit Guide Show, and the founder of the Spirit Guide Society. The very first time a spirit guide physically appeared in her bedroom in her mid-20s, she had no choice but to believe in a reality beyond our 3D world. Ever since, she has been on a mission to learn as much about the unseen dimensions of the universe as possible, especially the myriad forms of conscious beings that inhabit it and how we can communicate with them. She has helped thousands of people connect with their own spirit guides through private readings, courses, and workshops, and her weekly online show. Yamile, welcome to the Lit Up Lightworker Podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
It is so wonderful to have you here to talk all about spirit guides. But before we dive into it, I want to hear first about your story of meeting your own spirit guides in the first place. How did it happen? How did you ended up doing this work?
So it's a little bit of a longer story because when I was born in Colombia. My birth mother is indigenous from the Embera tribe, and they still have like their own customs and they still work with shamans and all that. But I was adopted as a baby by my Dutch parents and I grew up in Germany. So I didn't grow up in that indigenous culture, but I always felt like I had a purpose in life and that I was called to do something. I just didn't know what it was. But so I just went along in life and I did what I was supposed to do. I went to college at some point, but I wasn't really happy at college. Sometimes I just wouldn't go, to be honest. And in my mid-20s, early 20s, I discovered, or I thought, okay, I need to discover my roots. I need to do something about that. And I wanted to really dive into the spiritual side of that. So I started studying neo-shamanism. That was the closest I could get my hands on, and I started studying that by reading a few books about it. And while I was doing that, just a few weeks in, I woke up one night and I opened my eyes and it's about 3 or 4 in the morning and there's this guy standing in the doorway of my bedroom. And he's just wearing jeans, no socks, no shoes, no shirt, none, just jeans. And he's just staring at me. And I'm staring back because obviously like that's not normal. And he out of nowhere has this like red glowing orb, kind of like the size of a baseball. And he throws it over to me and I can feel it land on the bed on my left. I still remember that feeling. And then I just blacked out. And the next morning I opened my eyes, and before I even opened my eyes, my hand went like this and started searching for that red glowing ball and couldn't find it. And I was like, what was that? Who was that? What was going on? And I had no idea. I called my friend. I told her about the story. 2 days later, we were both signed up for a course in shamanic studies in Berlin. On the train right there, we talked about this story again. We arrived there. Our teacher then explains to us how we can connect with our spiritual helpers. That was what they called them, and how to travel into the spirit world, basically through a guided meditation. And he said, okay, when you're in the spirit world, then what usually happens the first time is that they give you energy, either by giving you a hug or sometimes in form of a red glowing orb. And I was like, wow, so that's what it was. It's my spirit guide. So that was the very first time that a spirit guide appeared to me right away in full physical form. And I didn't have any choice but to leave it but to believe in that world now. I never did before. I was more like raised scientifically and all that, but there was no other explanation for this story. So,
oh my goodness.
And then Yeah, it was crazy. And then over the years, like more spirits started popping up from time to time in full physical form. So over the next 15, 20 years, I saw 3 aliens in my bedroom. I saw nature spirits popping out of the earth in front of me and running around. I saw angels sitting on houses. So all kinds of like weird beings. And I never knew what that was supposed to be or what to do about it. It was just part of my life. And I was like, I don't know. That's just what happens sometimes. And then, but over time, I realized there are like these different types of guides. Like I said, you have like the angels, the ancestors, animal guides, star beings, ascended masters, deities, and nature spirits. And then in 2015, I realized that I was getting messages. So I would, I don't know, have a beer with someone in a bar, and suddenly like the air around me would get thicker, and I had this weird feeling, and I was drawn to a certain person that I didn't even know on the other side of the room. And I would get like a message like, this person just is going through a depression, this person just had a big fight with her boyfriend or whatever, just random stuff. And I was like, I thought I was just making it up. But at some point, I got a message for someone that I kind of knew. So I went over there and I was like, listen, I have no idea if you're into this kind of thing, but I just got a message. Here's the message. And he was like, yeah, that makes total sense. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not making it up. There's something to this. And then in 2016, I was living in Barcelona at the time. I woke up from an afternoon nap, and my guides gave me a download and said, okay, it's time you're gonna start doing readings. And I was like, what? No, I've never done readings before. I don't even know what you're talking about. But and also I had another business. I was doing something else, and they were like, no, you're gonna do this, and this is what your website's gonna look like, this is your marketing plan, and this is how you're gonna do your promotion. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a few days and we'll see what happens. And I set up the website, and before it was even finished, I had my first client. So I was like, I guess there's something to this. I need to do this. That's how it happened.
My goddess. Oh my goddess. Like, I got goosebumps just listening to this story, just because of how clairvoyant you are, because I do this work as well, and I communicate with spirit guides, but I'm more claircognizant. And when I get a clairvoyant message, it's usually like glimpses of like visions in my head. But I don't know what I would do if I saw like an elemental, because I teach a lot about the elementals just showing up right in front of me. That is amazing. Now, you mentioned briefly the 7 types, and we're going to delve deeper into them. But I want to first ask a more basic question. Do we all have spirit guides?
Yes, we do. At least in my opinion, we all do have spirit guides, no exceptions. In fact, we all have like a group of spirit guides, like a core team of 2 or 3. And then there's the ones that I call experts that come in when we are in certain situations. Let's say we're going through a divorce, or we just lost our job or something like this. Then we have guides that come in to help us through that phase, and then they leave again to help someone else. So yeah, we all have a team of guides, and everyone has spirit guides.
And is there specific type of guides that we all come with? For example, in the spiritual community, we talk a lot about angels. Do we all have angels, or could it be like, oh, this person has elemental guides or ancestors and not angels? How does it work when it comes to the type of guides we come in the world with?
From my perspective, we all have angels and we all have ancestors. Ancestors, obviously, we can't be without them. And we all have angels. And then the rest is more, depends on who it is. So if you're someone who's really into nature and loves nature, and then loves communing with the trees, then you probably have a nature spirit with you. If you're more someone who is let's say into the stars, astrology, astronomy, the cosmos, then you're probably working with a star being. So yeah.
And can we choose specific guides if we want to? Can we invite them to come and join us and support us?
I think so, yes, definitely. When we, for example, discover our love for nature and we want to do something about the environment, then we can call in nature spirits to help us do it. And they will come, definitely.
I love this. Okay, so now let's talk specifically about the 7 types of spirit guides. Now, this is the actual actually the name of your upcoming book with Hay House called The Seven
Right.
Types of Spirit Guides. That's coming out. When is it coming out?
October 13th.
Perfect. So everybody can go and get it on Amazon. Now,
Absolutely.
what are the 7 types of spirit guides? You've mentioned them, but could you give us some more information about each type and what they can help us with?
Sure. So we have angels. Most of us know what angels are. They are not just known in Christianity, but they're also known in Islam and the other bigger religions. And angels are here to help us a lot with emotions. So our emotions, feeling worthy, making sure that we are aligned with ourselves, basically. Then we have ancestors. Ancestors can be people that we actually knew, grandparents, parents, friends, but it can also be ancestors from hundreds of years back or even thousands of years back, or even ancestors from past lives. And ancestors help us a lot with, like, when it comes to family, when it comes to also friendships, human relationships, also releasing family karma. Then with children, raising children. Then we have animal guides. Animal guides are not like the soul of an individual animal, but they are the spirit of an entire species. And they help us a lot with physical reality, grounding ourselves into physical reality, which is really important for light workers, because we tend to be like up here and constantly wanting to be in the spiritual world and not so much here, because it can be rough here. And animal guides help us with that, because they are like the masters of physical reality. They live in it very much, and so they can help with that a lot. Then and also generally the physical body, healing the physical body, these kinds of things. Then we have star beings, otherwise known as aliens, but I don't like to call them that, especially when I work with clients one-on-one, because I don't want to freak them out. And a lot of people have watched too many scary like alien movies, and that's not what it's like. So star beings are what we would call aliens, but also other kinds of star beings, like the planets themselves are beings and have a spirit that we can communicate with. So I count these as star beings as well. Then we have ascended masters, who were once humans here on Earth, but they reached enlightenment and left the reincarnation cycle. So they're not coming back as humans, and they're on the other side to help us from there. And they help us with reaching enlightenment, basically, developing our mind and these kinds of things. And then we have deities, so that's gods and goddesses. And they can be from any culture, any time frame. They are often connected to past lives that we've had in those cultures or in those spiritual traditions, and so we still work with them. And then we have nature spirits, who, we already talked about. Obviously, they live in nature. They are the creators of nature. They literally create like our world, and they help us with anything to do with the environment. They are very specific about environmental protection. So if you want to work with a nature spirit, you definitely need to like pick up some trash or do something that helps, and then they will be drawn to you.
Gosh, I love the nature spirits. You know, I love talking about them all the time. And just while I heard you talk about them, I realized how I've connected with all of them throughout my life, but also I realized how consistently they've been present through the many years. As you may know, I'm a Greek pagan priest, so I work a lot with the Greek gods and goddesses. And as I've been reading the ancient books of the ancients, because right before I transitioned, I grew up Christian, so I knew a lot about angels. I then transitioned to New Age, so I worked a lot with like angel spirit guides. And then when I transitioned to paganism, angels is not something that's part of the whole religion. I'm like, wait a minute, like I've known angels my entire life. I communicate with them. I feel them around me. Like, I'm sure they're there. So I'm sure I could find them if I search, or if I knew how to search in the ancient texts. And I realized they just had a different name. They were called demons. weirdly, the ancient Greeks, the word demon that was demonized by Christianity is a Greek word daemon, which essentially means demon, and they were the angels of the ancient Greeks. They were helping spirits that were with them, guiding and protecting them. And if you read like all the different ancient hymns, they called demons, like the demons, which are essentially the angels. It's funny how we take a word and then we change it and change the complete perception that we have about them. Now, I'm very curious about to what degree can our spirit guides support us and interfere with our lives? Yes, we do know we have all this spiritual team all around us, communicating with us, sending us messages, but what if we're not aware of them? Can they still help us? Can they still support us? And to what degree?
Yes, they can definitely help us, and they will. They help us all the time. Sometimes people ask me, why are my guides not answering when I ask them something? But they are. And you get the answer, for example, through your intuition or your dreams or synchronicities. So they're always there. They're always helping us. However, it helps if we become more aware of it and work with them. And you can do that just by basically, first of all, asking them for help, because it's important. We have free will, so they can help us more and better if we agree, basically, if we say, yes, we want you to help me. And then, then you can connect with them consciously by developing your intuition, by developing your psychic abilities, your mediumship abilities. And we all have these abilities, just like everyone can dance. Maybe not everyone is going to be a famous, I don't know, dancer, but we can all do it. And that's the main thing. And then they can help us even better. Absolutely. Yeah.
I was wondering whether you can give us a practical process that we can all use to make contact with one or more of our spirit guides.
Sure. So this is something I learned from one of my mentors, Gordon Smith, who's an amazing medium. He taught me an exercise that's called sitting in the power. So what you do is, like, first you sit and you like you would meditate, you quiet your mind a little bit, and then you focus on your third chakra. This is our power center. So you focus on there. You can visualize a sun sitting there, for example, or a yellow ball or sphere that's sitting there. And then you really feel that energy of your third chakra. Really go into that and feel it. And then once you can feel it, you start to expand it. And you make it bigger and bigger and bigger until it fills up your entire aura. And then you just sit for 10 minutes, just in your own power bubble. You basically push out everything else. You don't think about anything else. You just sit in your own power. And that's important to do because our spirit guides are around us and we can feel them energetically. But if we don't even know what we feel like, just our own energy, then we can't know if another energy is coming in or going. And so we need to learn that first. How does my own energy, what does that feel like? And so you do that for 10 minutes, and then you ask your guides to join you in your space that you created. So you ask them, can you come into my aura, basically? And they will step in, and then you can feel the difference. Like some people, they will come with a calling card. So some people will feel it like, let's say, you're scratching your ear, like your ears might start like, you have to scratch it. Or maybe I know someone, another famous medium in the States, her nose will start running when her guides come in. Or you get really hot, or you get really cold, or you feel like you're like going like this a little bit, or there's all kinds of different signs. So you have to do it a few times until you notice that something happens when they come in. When you feel something, then you ask them to step out again of your aura, because then when this calling card stops, you know you're talking to an intelligent being. Then you ask them to step in again, and you do that like a few times until you realize, okay, that's the sign. And then you know, okay, this is my sign for when my spirit guides are close. And from there you start asking yes and no questions. For example, you can say, okay, so here's a yes and no question. If the answer is yes, step into my aura, then I feel the calling card. If it's a no, step out, so I know it's a no. And then from there, you can take it further and yeah, just ask open-ended questions and really work with your guide on learning, communicating with them.
I love how practical this process is. It's all about getting to know your own energy and then being mindful of how that shifts when different spirit guides come in. And of course, people can get so much more information about that and more processes in your book. Can you talk to us a little bit about the book?
Sure. So the 7 types of spirit guide is the first ever exploration of the different kinds of cosmic helpers that have communicated with shamans, mediums, priests, witches, and normal everyday people. Yeah, all these beings, I explore their characteristics, their gifts, and their challenges. And the book also features like an extensive quiz so that you can take that quiz and figure out which type of guide you are working with. And then towards the end of the book, I explain how to communicate with them and through a DIY spirit guide ceremony.
I love that. And everybody will love reading this book. It's available to order on Amazon, so be sure to go and get it. Yamile, where can people get in touch with you?
You can find me at my website, thespiritguidemedium.com. And there's a contact page. Send me an email. I'm also on Instagram. That's my last name. That's at Yemoonyah, YEMOONYAH.
And of course, all the links will be in the show notes, so you can access them there. Yamile, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast and sharing how we can connect with our spirit guides.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me.